Hello, ladies. Amazing women helping women entrepreneurs. Good afternoon. I'm going to say good afternoon because I'm in the UK. I think I've just gone live. So, hello, good afternoon from the UK here. I'm Charlotte Mather. I'm a mindset coach, clinical hypnotherapist, and NLP practitioner. I find all that a bit of a mouthful, so I tend to go by hypno coach. Welcome. Thank you for joining. I hope the Facebook Live is working all right. I know Facebook have made some changes. And this is the first time I've been live since they've made the changes. So, hi! So today I'm going to be talking about imposter syndrome, and it's quite appropriate and funny actually because I have struggled with this in the past. I've used the tips and techniques that I'm going to share with you today, amongst other things, and really thought that I'd sort of banished the imposter for good. But she's in the back room shouting to get out now because I'm doing this live. So, firstly, what is imposter syndrome? So, imposter syndrome is that feeling that you might get where you don't feel like you belong, or you don't feel like you're good enough in some way. They used to think that it was predominantly a female syndrome, if you like, or an experience that women had. But they've since done some research, and men get it too. And I've spoken to a few men that have said that they experience the same feelings of feeling like an imposter, like they're going to get found out to be a fraud, like they're not as good as their peers, and they kind of don't fit in. So it's defined as the inability to internalize your own success. So it particularly affects people that are successful as well. So they just feel like they don't deserve that success, or they don't recognize it in themselves, but they see it in other people around them. So it's a bit like comparisonitis, comparing yourself with everybody else and finding yourself lacking as well. So ladies, give me a shout out below if any of you have ever experienced imposter syndrome. Just throw your hands up for me, let me know. I speak to a lot of people about this, and it seems to be a common theme, especially with female business owners, and especially in the online space as well. There's so much need and desire to be visible and online and kind of put yourself out there, heart and soul, that it can be terrifying sometimes, really terrifying, but it doesn't have to be. So what I want to share with you today are just a few tips, tools that might help, that have helped me in the past. And these are the sorts of things that you should be able to implement quite quickly. I've used them before this live, for example, and just kind of quiet down that inner critic that you might be feeling it when imposter syndrome starts to rear its head. So a syndrome is a sort of characteristic combination of opinions, emotions, behaviours. So things might creep in, like I'm not as good as everybody else. They're going to think, who does she think she is, sort of thing. And that's one that's crept up for me this morning. So I'm going to go live in this group, this huge group of amazing women. Aren't they going to wonder who I am and who do I think I am? So we all experience it. This isn't about making it go away for good. It's a bit like fear. If we can push through it and overcome those feelings, then we're going to grow, we're going to develop, and we're going to feel a lot more positive and happy about what we're doing. So first tip, I guess, I'll crack on and get started. So you might feel like an imposter, but that doesn't mean it's the truth. So something that I like to implement really quickly with my clients is like a pattern interrupt, like something to disrupt that critical voice that we get in our head. And if you do suffer with imposter syndrome, just let me know in the comments what kind of thoughts creep into your mind when these feelings arise, because that'd be really helpful for me to know. But it's things like, who does she think she is, or they're all going to judge me, or I'm not as good as everybody else, those sorts of things. So you feel like that, but it's not always the truth, and it very rarely is the truth. So the first sort of pattern interrupt is asking, is that true? So the critical mind starts to ask questions, make statements. Is that true? And the subconscious, it's like a child. So the subconscious mind will believe everything that's being received, everything that's being fed to it. Um, so it's going to believe these thoughts if you let them run away with themselves. So if you can stop them, cut them off, is that true? And the best way to do that is look at the facts and then ask yourself how you're interpreting the facts. So the facts might be, so I'll give you an example from my previous life in the corporate world. I had a job that I loved in a place that I loved, and I worked with a team that were great. I progressed very quickly into a senior role, head of a department, and imposter syndrome hit me like a train. I compared myself to everyone around me. They'd got degrees in mathematics and economics and statistics, and I hadn't been to university. I'd got the job on my own merit and shown that I was capable, but I couldn't see that when I compared myself to people around me. And I used to snoop diaries. I don't know if anybody else has ever done this in their job, but I used to snoop through the calendars and diaries of the rest of the heads of departments, the directors, etc., because I had access. And if I saw there was a meeting that it seemed like the rest of the heads of departments were invited to and I wasn't, I would be terrified that it was because they'd found me out, they wanted me out, they didn't think I was good enough, they didn't think I was worthy of being at the meeting. The thoughts just used to run away with me. I would sit there miserable, absolutely miserable. Um, but then, I'd ask myself, okay, what else could this mean? So there's a meeting I'm not invited to. What else could it mean? It could be that I had a clash. If I didn't have a clash, it could be that I wasn't necessarily needed. It wasn't a subject that I'd be involved in. Um, and I asked someone, and they said they thought I was too busy. I always looked really busy, and this was just a monthly check in, so they didn't bother me with it. So actually, the truth wasn't that they thought I was inadequate, didn't need to be involved, had nothing to add. It was they thought I was too busy, or I really wasn't needed for that subject matter. So always ask yourself the thought that creeps in, the critical thought: is it true? What's the fact? The fact was I wasn't invited to a meeting. My interpretation of the fact, which was incorrect, was I'm useless, they don't want me, I'm not valued. And I got so bad in that role, my imposter syndrome was so bad that I left that job, and it was a job that I really, really loved. I mean, thankfully, I'm here now doing this, which I love even more. But at the time, it was really, really upsetting to me, and I allowed that to happen and continue. That was my own mind that created that situation. So that's why I'm really passionate about helping other people to overcome that self doubt, find their confidence, and do what they love without fear. Um, Another tool that I like to use is called a success audit. So I don't know if any of you struggle to take compliments. I notice it a lot. Pay someone a compliment, they downplay it. I sometimes fall into that trap myself and have to catch myself and accept the compliment. And especially in the UK, it tends to be quite the norm to sort of downplay your success and not want to celebrate it, stiff up a lip or something like that. I don't know, it's ridiculous. But we downplay that success. We don't celebrate when we've achieved something enough. And so when something knocks our confidence, we haven't kind of got that backup. We haven't got that buoyancy aid, if you like, to rise us back up and tell us that we are good enough and we are doing a great job. We haven't got those accolades. So surround yourself with accolades, surround yourself with compliments. Take a success audit of everything you've achieved, of all the good things that have happened because of you, because you're here doing what you're doing. And use that as like a mantra almost, or have it somewhere you can see it. And if those thoughts of not being good enough start to creep in, remind yourself of all the amazing achievements that you've got. because there'll be a massive list of them: work, life, family. There'll be a huge amount of achievements and success. So if you feel that doubt, that fear starting to creep in, even just one thing that you were amazing at, one thing that you were proud of. And pride is such a higher level vibration than fear and doubt. And so use that, something that you're proud of, celebrate your successes, and just keep them to hand as well. Keep them in places where you'll see them, if you suffer with imposter syndrome. So if you do a lot of online lives and things, keep them around your webcam, almost like a mantra, like I say. So things you're proud of, successes that you've had previously. I spoke a little bit before as well about comparisonitis, or comparison being the thief of joy. So this seems to be human nature to compare, and I always ask myself, where does that ever lead? Does it ever lead to a good feeling? So when you compare yourself to another human being, are you ever going to feel good? Because you might compare yourself and find yourself lacking. That's not going to be a good feeling. Conversely, you might compare yourself and think, yeah, you know what, I'm better at that. Um, is that a good feeling? Is gloating a good feeling? So it doesn't work for you either way. So the best thing to do is just try and eradicate the comparisonitis. A coach once said to me something that really struck home, and I use this phrase a lot now, and it's, don't compare your chapter 2 with someone else's chapter 20. I think it's easy for us to do this in business as well, and I fall into this trap myself. I'm still learning, where you look at somebody and think, oh, how have they got so much success? How have they got so many members in their Facebook group? How have they had a 6-figure launch? And you want it for yourself and feel like because you haven't achieved it, you're somewhat lacking, or you're not as good an entrepreneur, or in my case, a coach or a hypnotherapist. And actually, in truth, they're probably 6 years ahead of you, right? They're probably. I mean, I've got coaches that I look up to in the industry, and I'm in awe of. And sometimes I think, oh, well, I wonder if I'd ever have a 6-figure launch. And then I catch myself and think, I know that they're 6 years ahead. I know they've been doing this for 6 years. It's not their first rodeo. It's not their first time. So allow yourself that space and understand where you are on your journey. If you do start to compare, where you are on that journey, and there'll always be someone behind you chomping at your heels, wishing they were you. Always, always. So don't compare your chapter 2 with someone else's chapter 20. And just like if you read a book, you can't start at the beginning and then flip to the end, read the end page. You're not going to understand the story. You're not going to have grown and experienced through the chapters of that book, of that story. So you're at a point in your story that you can't change where you are. You are where you are. You're on that chapter. You can't skip ahead. So you just got to work your way through the pages. Enjoy the story. Enjoy. Interact with the characters. Have fun with it. Grow and learn with it. So when you're starting to compare, just remember where you are. And if you can just stop comparing, that would be better, right? It doesn't lead to any good. So if you wait until you're the best at something, if only I was, like people like to get more and more certificates and do more and more training in this thing. If I'm just a bit better, if I'm a better coach, if I've got another skill, if I've got another modality to use, if you wait until you're the best at something, you're going to be waiting a long time. And then there's a chance that will be taken away. Usain Bolt, the fastest man on earth, it can be taken away. It will be taken away. So don't wait for happiness until you're the best at something. enjoy it now, enjoy where you are in the chapter that you're on. So the third technique that I'm going to share, this is a bit more physical, so I'm going to move around on this one. So you might have heard of EFT or tapping. Drop me a thumbs up if you have. I can't see comments though, to be fair. Oh, that's a shame. So if you've heard of EFT or tapping, you'll know what I'm about to do. If you've not, you're in for a treat. It's interesting. So I'm by no means an expert in this technique, but I use it a lot on myself and with my clients. I have a very good friend who is an expert in this technique that showed me what needed to be done. So it's really quick and effective. It's quite visual, so a lot of people like to do it when they're on their own rather than in public. But the basis of the emotional freedom technique is it taps on acupressure points and in the energy system, in the energy body. So by tapping on these points, we can release emotions. I also find that it's almost got a hypnotic quality to it, especially if you continue it like a mantra. You can almost go into a sort of light hypnotic trance, which for me just amplifies the effect. The effect of anything's always amplified with hypnosis, so it's got that quality to it. And also it's a distraction technique as well. If you're like flapping around like I was before the live, I don't know if my camera's going to work, and I don't know if people are going to think I'm an idiot, then you can distract yourself with this. You'll see why. So with EFT, we start off with our initial phrase, and it's we set this up to be the feeling that we are concerned about and we'd like to be rid of. So as an example, let's say, so my phrase today is going to be, even though I feel afraid that I'll be judged, I completely love and accept myself. So it always starts even though, and then whatever feeling it is that you're annoyed about, and then I completely love and accept myself. So we do the karate chop for this one. So on this part of the hand here, and you want to tap about 6 or 7, 8 times. I don't count, I just kind of go with the flow. But the setup phrase, repeat it with the karate chop. Even though I feel afraid that I'll be judged, I completely love and accept myself. Even though I feel afraid that I'll be judged, I completely love and accept myself. And any of the words you can say out loud or in your head, I think they're more powerful when you say them out loud as well. So the first point we're going to tap is inside the eyebrow here, so just at the end of the eyebrow. You just do 2 fingers, lightly tap, and then you're going to tap on a feeling that comes up. Something might come from the subconscious, or you might already have something in mind. So you might say fear, fear, 6 or 7 times before you move to just outer eye here, top of the cheekbone, outer eye, the orbit. Judgment. So you can use another word, use the same one, tap 6 or 7 times. And then here, just on the kind of socket of the eye, underneath the eye, gently, 2 fingers again, anxiety. Another feeling that might come up. And then the next point is here on the, I think it's called the philtrum, but let me know if I've got that wrong. I'm going to go back to fear. And then the next point, and all 6 or 7 taps, 6, 7, 8 taps, is here in the cleft of the chin. And like I say, out loud or in your head. Out loud's more powerful, I think. Stress. Next point is on the collarbone. You could use 2 hands here if you want to. I like using 2 hands. And then the next one is under the arm. I say it's where your bra would be. But I've not had a bra on for about 7 months. Unless I leave the house on the rare occasion. Judgment. So with each tapping position, whatever phrase comes up. And then the final one is top of the head. go. And you should feel a lot more relaxed. I can feel a different flow of energy. I don't feel nervous now at all. Like my hands have stopped shaking. They were shaking quite badly before with adrenaline. So it has that, like I said, that hypnotic quality to it. It calms. It's got the acupressure that works with the energy systems, and it just makes you feel really good. And it's easy to do, but you might not feel comfortable doing it in public, like on the train or something. I don't know. If I'm out and about and I just need a little kind of tapping moment, I tend to just tap this one here. I don't know whether that's the right or the wrong thing, but it feels nice to me. And it always reminds me of when you see someone that's stressed or um, upset, they tend to kind of rub this part here. So that must be a really good point. I want to say it's Shen Men, but I'll probably get that wrong. Like I say, I'm not an expert. I just use this technique. It stopped me shaking. I feel great now. I hope that you give it a try and that you get some benefit from it. I love tapping. Remember the pattern interrupts. So is this true? Doing the success audit, have those as affirmations around. You can really reprogram the subconscious mind quite easily. It just takes repetition, commitment, expectation. You know, those ingredients need to be there. Belief that you can make it happen. The subconscious loves repetition. So just doing the same thing over and over and over. Look how easy it is to drive after you've done it many, many times, but the first time's really difficult. After you've done it many, many times, it's easy. Anything. You can write your signature with your dominant hand, easy. Put the pen in your other hand, not so much. But if you kept doing it and kept doing it and kept doing it, it'd be easier. So the subconscious mind loves a pattern, it loves repetition. So replace the pattern, replace the repetition of negativity with positivity, and the things that you do want. So the reason I became a coach is because I understand that the amazing power of the subconscious mind has always fascinated me. And the power of coaching, hypnosis, NLP, all of those modalities to literally rewire the brain for success, for abundance, for happiness, for positivity, anything that we want is just incredible. So today I've only skimmed the surface with the kind of techniques that I share with my clients. These are just three of many. And this really supports them in just those massive shifts in their mindset to move forward and truly change their lives. I hope you've enjoyed it. I'm going to dial off in a moment. In the description of the live, I've added a couple of links. One's to my group, which is the Subconscious Secrets of Success, where I share more of these tools and techniques, and we learn about rewiring the mindset. And the other link is for my free 8-hour sleep hypnosis. So if you haven't had enough of my voice already after 25 minutes, you can download 8 more hours of it. And it's a hypnotic meditation that can take you through the night as you sleep, and start to rewire the mindset, banish imposter syndrome, create confidence, and just help you to believe in yourself. So I hope you take a look at that. Let me know how you get on, if you enjoy it. And if anybody's interested in reaching out for a call to discuss working with me, I'll put a link in the comments as well. Any questions, let me know. I'd love to connect, and have a lovely day.